2nd and 3.
Oh, ball's up in the air, and it's intercepted off the deflection.
And what a hit.
Complimentary football.
Oh, 2nd down and 2, big hit, but Rondell Moore.
No, he can do it. Looks over the middle.
Oh my goodness, Lenore with an unbelievable hit, and Swift
On it. He had his hands on it again the last time they met, and the ball comes out at the end, and it's recovered by the backup.
It's picked off, intercepted by Tampa Bay. Christian is in.
Fumbles today, of course, were costly.
And the goal line. Oh, what a kickoff.
Herbert looking for the end zone off the hands of Stone Smart, who took a big hit in the end zone.
No flag?
Mac Jones fires up the center of the field, and it is broken up, nearly picked again. Juju Smith-Schuster
Back to the goal line. DTR hit hard as he gets rid of it. Baron Browning plants.
Goff over the middle, gets it to the corner, who gets smoked by Greenlaw. Made the catch to the 46, but what a hit.
Back at the left tackle. Jordan to the air. Nice backpedaling catch. Big time crack Jackson. He's been doing that.
Minshew over the middle of the Downs. He's taken down by Casey.
Peters back at right tackle. Gino takes a huge shot. Up for grabs and batted down by Will Ditt.
Oh, bump. There goes a flag. It's on Tillery.
Evans.
Now Godwin. Oh, man, he took a hit from Tracy Walker. The first time we've really said Walker's looking deep. Got a man. And a one-handed attempt for Ertz. He could not hold on.
Minshew has to step up. He's got a receiver and a first down, and then a flag for the...
Caught, and Njoku. There he goes again. He loses the ball at the 40-yard line.
Yeah, C.J. Mosley knocked that ball. They're going to have to go short. The clock's going to go to the 2-minute warning. Robinson just lost his helmet, and Brian Branch.
Love. Quick throw high, and Wicks is belted. Incomplete. Diamador Lenore right there, and he made the play.
Cousins on play action. Jefferson gets drilled. Deshaun Jameson says hello.
The play fake. Stroud looking to throw. He's hit. Oh, he is nailed. Wow, Jalen Thompson with a big time right there. Chase in motion into the bow. Bam. Wow.
They didn't listen to James.
No, Zaire Franklin came in and met.
Pulls it down. Rashad White, fumbled. Bradbury's got it for Philadelphia.
It's Naylor with the catch. Got a block. And then it's planted. Oh, my goodness. Amik Robertson.
Meeker back there. Tua swinging it out. Look out! Hill crushed by McDuffie.
Pickett with all day. Oshetsky lost it. And the Browns end up with a Del Pitt.
Flips it to Dobbs, who runs to the edge. Gets hit hard, the ball out, and into the hands of McMillan for Denver. The Broncos.
So dangerous, and he's got the sideline looking for a block and then gets popped by Reed Ferguson.
Looking, throws over the middle. It's complete. And a big hit laid by David Mayo.
Throw, but he makes a connection with Chris Moore, who loses the football in Bears territory. He's going to be ruled down by contact.
In the first round. Gonzalez in the punt. Juju Smith-Schuster hit hard. The ball comes down, I assume.
Boyle fires downfield. Oh, big hit.
Was it inbounds?
Laid on Garrett Wilson by Jesse Bates. Richardson now fires out to the 45-yard line. It's McKenzie, but he did not. With the empty backfield, Gardner Minshew right on the screws and broken up. Woods hit Pittman with the flag.
I was trying to do something. I was like, oh, look at that hit now. That one's clean. That's Quincy Williams again.
Walker throws high and complete for Moore, and a flag on the hit to Gibson.
Over the middle, Pop Douglas. Oh, he gets popped. There is no flag.
Thompson Robinson is going to run with it. Flips it to no man's land, out of bounds.
Under pressure. Oh, what a hit on McLaurin. Sidney Brown.
Henry on first down. Derrick Henry with a bruising run, and he picks up 9.
And there you go again. We talked about
Back scanning as he those feet underneath. Darrell hangs on as Greenlaw hits him away,
And instead fires to the perimeter. He put H in a tough position.
I like it.
To the sideline, looking for Devontae Adams, and Adams got popped pretty good by Pinnock.
Walker with a post, big hit by Grant. Double out there.
Garoppolo! Mika Fitzpatrick coming right in. And got Jimmy G.
They had the Brian well, and he got popped by the rookie Witherspoon.
Walker stepping up, checks it short and through the hands of Amari Cooper. There is a flag down.
Goff underneath, and Reynolds gets crunched. Raymond, beg your pardon, gets crunched.
Survey for Pittman. Oh, look out. There's flags all over the place.
Player of the week at a 61-yard return, and he is leveled at the 30. Cam Brown with the big hit. Well, here he is on the run now. Oh, wow, Derek Barnes was ready. Don't let him extend. Fourth down, pass to the end zone. It is caught. Logan Thomas.
Carr fires, batted, incomplete. Another batted ball and a flag.
Looking to throw it, and he's got ETN, but it's out in front of him and incomplete. You had Ward coming over the top there.
Here's one to Hall in traffic, and he gets blown up by Derwin James.
Deep drop. Smith loads it up. Caught. Big hit at the 11 on Bobo. Flags fly.
To Trammell. And Trammell cannot get away from Witherspoon. But did he do too much? No flag.
Oh, that was McKenzie getting absolutely lit up.
Go Hardman is back. Oh, he fumbled the ball! He fumbled the ball! It's taken in.
The 30-year-old rookie. Oh, all kinds of action there. New Orleans comes up with the ball.
Goff is looking to load up another one. Instead goes underneath to Sam Laporta and Caden Ellis.
Fields, Mooney overthrown, and then Mooney gets hit by Metellus.
And again, now's going to tuck in and wrong will do so, and they gets hit down hard, and there's a penalty. Across the 40, that's the second.
Third down, 7. Got it. What a pass. Thomas was whacked by Bryant, but holds on.
Stafford, pressured, throws underneath, Cubs got it, but he's tackled. Inside the 10 by Brian Branch.
Minshew on 2nd and 12, goes underneath. This is Down. This boy Downs is lit up. Takes a hard shot by Davis. Tannehill over the middle, completes. Hard smack. DeForest Buckner.
Likes to do, then it's really going to help.
Football is loose. What's the ruling here? Incomplete.
Line. Again, he's got time to stand still and connect with McCaffrey. Has his leg bent back. He's okay. Wow.
Against the Raiders. Here's Pollard again. Out across the 25, ball comes out, but they're going to say that Pollard was
Flushed and gets nailed. And boy, do I mean nailed by Denis.
Gets the carry. Not a lot of room. Knocked backwards when he got to the 41. Okuda coming up from his corner spot.
Flacco on first down over the middle, and it's intercepted. Off the deflection, it's Tremaine Edmonds.
It's Edmonds. Gets off the spot, caught, and banged forward that time is Elijah Mitchell.
That guy's going to have to take Lamar.
This is Adams. Hammers him after the catch, loss of 4.
And taking off as Mahomes gets inside the 10 and the 5. Hit hard there at the 2-yard line.
Got it again. Ooh. Got through the first wave of tacklers, then got popped there by Blake Cashman. Defense got the screen set up here for Goodwin taking on tacklers. There was Zaire Franklin. Thankfully, everyone's safe and sound. There, boy, what a hit. It's a great hit.
Attendance today, the tailgate was awesome.
Whoa! On the return, Carter Coughlin.
Pressure's picked up. Smith on the roll, and a big hit leveled with flags all over the field. Emmanuel.
Motion here. Pass out in the flat. Nothing doing.
22, slants, cuts, Kincaid again, loses the ball, and it's picked
popped up. Nick Scott hit him. Here is McCaffrey, cuts upfield, and he gets hit and hit hard into the arms of Broderick. Takes off, getting to the sideline, big hit at the line, inbounds at the 4.
And Tua going long. Looking for Ahmed, and then he got big hits by Franklin and by
Ozzie Smith. Here's Allen. Lets it rip. And oh, my goodness, what a hit. Shakir, and they're going to get a flag on Curse. And as soon as they drafted him, Hayner, first thing he did, FaceTime Carr. And that time he gets smacked in an overthrow there. Just hope he's okay. Prescott. Oh, Ferguson held on. What a catch. As Kyle Duggar brought the hit.
over the middle, incomplete. Triple coverage on Hutchinson.
Kicker emergency guy. Soft toss, Mayfield hit hard as White pops off the turf. Denzel Perriman
in the third quarter by either team.
Whoa, around the neck, it's Conley. Clotheslines him like.
Look at the time. Throw is high and incomplete. Dell was laid out by Hill.
Swing to Connor. Connor working against Witherspoon. And Witherspoon.
Quick throw. It's batted into the air and picked off. It's Hurts pulling it and getting the first down. Stopped by Deontay Banks.
Wilson fake the handoff. He'll do it himself. Oh, Wilson takes a major pop. Flags down. Jimmy Ward.
Handoff for Henderson. Oh, wow, he pinballed into the body of DeMarvin Leal, who's back at...
Will keep. And he's going to keep running. Leaping. Out of bounds.
Looking for his Titan receiver. That is caught by Chris Moore. Flags are all over. Allen slings it inside. Stops short of the goal line. They're not going to get a playoff. Go empty. And Dak throws it underneath. Held onto by Cooks. The big hit doesn't matter. It's a first down. On the left side, quick throw. Deebo Samuel had to fight.
Dalton on the move. Fake and throw. It's complete at the 48 with a flag down. Adam Thielen.
And Tua looks his way, and it's incomplete. Cedric Wilson Jr. was the intended target.
Good blitz pick up by Mixon. Burrow's hit as he throws. That ball's loose. A flag is thrown on the play.
They benched a few. Sutton gets drilled, and a flag is going to fly. Garoppolo looking downfield for Adams. Oh, hit. Flag with it. Ball out of space for Stick, who goes to Everett, who got hit at the 1-yard line. What a play out of the back. Right now, no diva-like players that he's got to contend with. How about this play? Ingram with a one-handed snatch. This is tossed out to the edge. And we'll see where they put it down. Latavius Murray.
6 seed. Darnold floats it out there, and it is incomplete. Got it jarred away by Russ Yeast.
Flips it out into the flat and incomplete. And right there was...
We'll get to all. Here's the play. Hello. Max Crosby demolished the ball carrier, Jamison Williams.
This you can see. Bobbled, loose, and picked up on the play by Wooten. Chandler Wooten gets the ball.
Allen on third down. Rifles it. Immediately hit after the grab. Diggs. Jack Jones
dances, dumps it off. He's got Myers, and Myers is nailed right at midfield, and the flag comes in.
The last 4 third downs. Jackson tosses, incomplete. Beckham hit late. Buda Baker. No sacks in San Francisco either, and here it is. Right on cue, Parsons.
Love over the middle. Watson again gets decked, but hangs on and gets down to the 14. Fields, pressure on his face, throws high. Claypool gets decked, and it's incomplete. Jair Alexander. Pressure's coming. Tannehill stays in the pocket. Has Hopkins. A first down inside the 15.
Flag for 53. On the ground again. Good tackle and losing his helmet. Hanging right in there. Jaquan Brisker.
Falling to his right. Throws. End zone. Oh, London took a hard hit and a flag is thrown. DJ Reed. Cousins sets. Throws to the End zone incomplete. He was looking for Addison.
Second down, set up a screen to Kyron Williams, and he is dead. Trailing 14-0. Middle of the field's wide open. What a hit. The ball comes out. Jamal Agnew, Baltimore this year.
Here's Jackson, likely blocking, and there's nothing there. Drake Greenlaw got through. Here's Madison, and a hit by Greenlaw.
Pocket collapsing, steps up, navigates the trouble, then gets decked. At the end of the sequence, he's going to be well short of the first down. That was
Tua stepping up, flinging in the air. Hill broken up. Taylor wrap.
It's Jacobs again, and Jacobs, who runs into an angry bear. Now Carr with pressure coming on the move, and the first target of the day for Chris.
Here he is on first down, running, and the ball comes out. That's a fumble, and it's recovered at the 1-yard line.
Let's see if Browning can cash in. And pass is incomplete. Yosivas had it and was knocked loose.
And a lot has changed. Now Carter's 10th season as Camaro goes nowhere. Will Anderson Jr.
Down. Quick drop over the middle. High throw. Pollard gets dropped. Terrell Bernard with a big-time hit.
To Palmer. Blockers in front, but good job shedding the block by Josh Metellus out there on the edge.
Downs, thrown down by Donald. Handoff is to Raymond, and he's brought down. This Raider.
Cole Beasley gets walloped by Brian Branch, the rookie.
3rd and 9. Tannehill over the middle. He's got Okonkwo, who takes a shot but picks up the first down.
Under pressure and gets smashed at the 31. Hand to Madison, trying to find somewhere to go, and he got upended by Hufanga.
Flip to Mostert again. Tries to get to the edge. It gets slammed down to the ground. DeMarcus Lawrence in there. Mooney gets decked.
He takes a monster shot.
Ninth play of the drive. Walker under pressure. Football is loose. That's a live football. And Indianapolis has it.
And build culture. He said it's the sticky stuff that helps guys execute.